Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? Guys, I have seen quite a bit of stuff in this show in general, like the other spin-off and the main series. But to think that they're putting pretty good effort into this, I have been entertained more than I thought I would be. I know some of these characters won't play huge roles in the main series, but that's to be expected because they're supposed to be just much bigger, broader characters in this term. But at the same time, uh, the whole sister dilemma has been kind of the only thing besides, like, friends and stuff that always are the ones caught in Railgun's story. It's always just someone else that she's trying to help. It's never really everything is solely focused on her and what she's done or what she has that they want from her. It's mostly just we need someone that is involved with her, and because she's involved, she feels bad, usually figures out how to save them. So it's almost, it's like the same formula, but how do we get to that point? How does it play out? All this stuff is what I'm really actually looking forward to seeing in this show. The Railgun not being one of my favorite characters in this big, broad series of a lot of characters around. Sure, not all of them do a crap ton of stuff and go on their own solo missions that we follow, but a lot of them have really cool personalities, and I think that's another reason why I want to watch this show is because there's a good chance I see characters I do want to know about. Like Accelerator's already been in the show. The main guy's already been in here. Index is nowhere to be found, but that's just to be safe with this show in the case of Index goes through a lot in the certain magical index. Like she's always getting, either she's far away or she's just dealing with something with her guy that she's always with. So it's hard to be like, oh, and she existed right at this moment in this place, but it never happened in the main series. We're just filling in the plot hole here. When really, if this takes place at a certain time when she's like all the way out of state, out of this country or something, then it just looks dumb, right? Then it just has continuity errors. So I think it's safer to keep her out of the story compared to the guy with the magic hand. His name is Toma, I think, right? So everything that's popping off is interesting. The teleporting girl doing her thing. Like everybody's just doing their own things, but it feels like none of it was not expected by the person who got away, right? Like not only does she have something that counteracts lightning for the railgun, who's the main problem of all this, but the bolts that were thrown into this puppet also didn't really affect it either in the case of being able to control its to teleport it somewhere else or just to be able to pin it down and stuff like that. And then not being able to hit it with electric, which is Railgun's whole stick, is pretty dangerous. So that's the other thing is all they do is really calculate things that they need to beat Railgun with, and they usually don't worry about the friends, right? Like they usually just let the friends be there and kind of just foil their plans if they know nothing about them, which is kind of dumb in my opinion. But hey, it's a story, and you gotta have the villains be able to lose somehow. So there you go. Overall, though, I I like how much effort this blonde-haired girl's putting into stuff. But to think that all it took was one electric shock to a computer that was like turned off and the data was erased on other parts of the websites, but because this computer had researched it or broken through all of the clutter, fake stuff to actually find what it needs to find, it's just still in there for some reason. Like she didn't completely just eradicate the computer's memory and data and all that stuff. She just turned it off and called it quits. Like, oh, I changed your mind. No one should check this computer because it's your computer, and I'll just turn off the computer. Like to give it a boost, and she didn't even really turn it off. She like turned off the monitor because the website was still completely up. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. Like I said again, you have to have these types of things so the characters can actually catch on. Because the blonde girl is so smart right now, and her teammates are crafty enough that we got really no answers to anything that they're up to, or that they're not. Yeah, that they're up to, what they're planning for the sister in the case of that, and then what else are they getting out of this, right? Like, if you're doing this to the sister, what do you expect for yourself? Like, usually the only reason why people do anything is because of their own motives, and we haven't heard anyone's motives. Like, does the blonde girl get to control more people because of this? Or does she own part of a city and get stronger? I don't know. So we'll see how this plays out. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I'm still just trying to think of stuff like, for instance, the battle with the teleporting and saving the mom was cool, but it also just plays another role of how smart they are with these story plots. With if her friends were all on her side and it was just a normal like go at it where she's just like, I'll call my friend, have her do this, have this other friend do that, it would be a lot more simple to me. But because they played the role of, yes, all of her friends have been manipulated, their minds aren't the way that they are supposed to be right now, like they just aren't them right now. So that's the big reason why um, everything's kind of just going in a spiral until all of a sudden they're like, okay, we don't know this Railgun girl, but why is her phone number in my phone? Like, like, why? Which they probably could have gone through the pictures and found a bunch of pictures. So it's these types of things that are very clever and slowly building up just the overall narrative of how crazy and ridiculous this stuff is popping off. So I'm looking forward to seeing how people are reacting to it. If you guys like this better than Accelerator's story at the end of the day, or is Accelerator just a cooler character in general, that anything he does, you can get more into it, and vice versa with the main character, the main character in Index. Do you like their series better just because it makes the overall world change at the end of the day sometimes, or at other times we actually leave the Academy City and visit like Paris. I said Paris, or they went to the UK, so they usually get to travel, and the more of the spin-offs have been grounded in one area, seemingly. So when we see Accelerator not really leave outside of the place, or he's dipping around the whole town like because he owns the place, it's nice to see him in town still to kind of give us an understanding of where the time period is. Like, he's not where he is in the main series out in the snow in like Russia or something, but that's for another day, hopefully when the other series returns. But with all that being said, everybody, like I honestly just, it was pretty simple. Like, these episodes are pretty straightforward. Talk to the cat, found out stuff that these guys were talking in Latin, all that different little jazz. But yeah, as a whole, I think we're in for a crazy plot, and hopefully it doesn't feel too obvious at the end of the day. Like, hopefully something cool happens that's unexpected yet again. So, with all that being said, everybody, have an awesome day, night, evening. I'm your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you sooner than later. So, with all that being said, peace.